How we doing? Oh my god, this is actually happening.
This is crazy.
What, a month ago we thought about this?
Yeah. It hasn't been that long.
It's been probably like a month.
Yeah.
We thought, how do we start this? Hey,
Yeah.
we don't have anything in the community.
Yeah. I remember you said podcast. You said
I was
exactly
like- I was
podcast.
like-
Why don't we do a podcast?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But you gave me this weird look. You're like, I don't know.
Because, bro, podcasts, like, everyone tries to do a podcast now. Everyone does podcasts now. So that's why it's like, you know, what are we going to do that's different?
I mean, for a start,
That's the question. Yeah.
what about the name?
The name,
My man.
it's crazy, right? You know, Minsifology.
How do we come up with that?
How do we come up with that? So obviously,
We were in it like, because you gotta back, trace back our thoughts at that time.
okay, so in complete honesty, it started at, you were saying some like,
Dumbass shit.
like garage sesh or something. Garage
No, yeah,
sesh.
because this is, by the way, this is
It is
literally
literally in
from
our
the heart
garage.
of Western Sydney,
It's literally in a
in
garage.
the back of a garage.
If
And
we
you
can
should
turn
see
around the
second-
camera and it's like,
you
it's
should
literally
see a
just a
second out of
bed.
this garage,
There's
man.
a bed flipped
That's-
on a wall.
Yeah, it's sort of like a refugee camp at the moment, but
Yeah.
we're trying to make it work. All right, but look, I think we're up to something.
Yeah,
I think it's wonderful. All right,
We got the name,
what the name?
you know, Minsifology.
Minsif. Hold it. And it was meant to be Minsif philosophy at one point. Right?
Yeah, well, it is Minsif philosophy, but we've just got part of. It was originally Minsif philosophy. So
Minsif philosophy.
Minsif, but that's just Minsif philosophy. But that's
And it
just
was like too much. It was too much on the tongue,
Yeah, and then Minsifology is
which is Minsif and theology put together.
well, Minsif and like it is still Minsif philosophy, but it's just like
But what are we trying to get out of this?
Okay.
All right. Honestly, I think it's time
We're
for
yapping
us
too
to
much.
establish this because we are yapping too much.
I think you should answer that.
I think networking is a great thing. Meeting new people. After a while, just us talking will be boring for sure, and people aren't going to be
Definitely,
listening
yeah.
or watching.
If it's just us two, yeah.
Yeah, but I think in general, it's going to be It's going to be about bringing the community together because we are at the end of the day Mundanians.
Yeah.
Okay? We represent a small portion of Liverpool, very small, but a very significant portion of Liverpool.
Yeah.
We are an ethnic, agnostic ethnic religion. Is that?
Ethno-religion.
Ethnic
Ethno-religion.
religion, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a better way to say it. Of Iraq and Iran, and we somehow found our way to this wonderful country. Yet we seem to have been losing identity along the way. So I think this will be a wonderful, wonderful experiment to bring people together, to have online discussions, online forums, even things to do with just religion and community. And why is it so bloody hard to get people together and connect?
Connect.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And getting guest speakers on is going to probably be part of our primary really aim at this.
Yeah, I think I was literally telling this before. I was like, it's going to be very rare if it's just us two.
You're absolutely right.
I
I
think
we should never be us two.
Yeah, I think it's the beginning. Obviously, this is just us, you know, introducing and just testing it out. I think obviously it has to be us two. But I think every other episode, like every other session that we have, is going to be with people.
Yeah, and I think we'll start with family and friends and people that we have, I guess, bonded together over a lot of different topics for years and years. It'll be easy for us just to bring them on and just have chats. But I think that one of the primary reasons for us starting the podcast is to make sure that we bring the community together. We raise awareness about certain problems, relationships, religion, even politics, dating, money, jobs, job prospects. I think that's quite important things to do,
100%.
And part of it is us learning about who we are as a family.
And I think we should mention that it came up with this idea like a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
where it's this, and then as depending on who we get on and what they say and what the lessons that we learn, we kind of make a 10
commandments.
A 10 commandments, except it's going to be like way more than 10.
It will be 10, but it'll be interesting because you'll be meeting a lot of different people from different agendas, with different agendas and different backgrounds.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is that you can learn even from people who are vastly different from you. Like there's always shit to learn from these people.
Yeah, and I think
there's always stuff to learn.
I think in general it comes down to like what sort of person you want to have on board as well.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm excited about this. I think this is something that has not been done in our community before, even in our area. To be honest, I've never come across one.
Yeah.
we will be getting a lot of attention, a lot of perhaps negative attention, which I don't care.
Yeah,
I think we'll be raising a lot of controversial topics.
Yeah.
Religion, politics, science, even dating and relationships, and the taboos of different, I guess, different sort of expectations. Modern expectations have impacted our religion a lot. So it'll be interesting to see where it can come.
Yeah. No, I think it's now it's just obviously in like the early building stages.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, but I'm expecting that the future will be quite interesting because I don't know the outcome, but I'm only excited to see where it's going to go.
That's it.
But yeah, so I'm Yahya.
Rewind.
And welcome to Minsifology, I guess.
Yeah, Minsifology.
It'll be quite an extensive project with a lot of work to be done in the background. But I guess most of our ideas have been coming in the spa.
The name literally came in the spa.
Literally in the spa. The people having on board are in the spa as well. And I think one of the primary reasons for bringing up this podcast was for the community and for the service of the community and the religion. So I'm very excited. You want to say anything else?
I reckon we should just jump into our first thing that we were going to talk about.
What was it? Was it discipline?
It was in the youth. I think it was discipline in the youth.
You're right.
I think it was in our youth. Yeah.
Well, make sure you talk close.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to.
Because I'm checking this and it's not too loud. Okay, so what do you think is the primary issue at the moment? Discipline.
Like when it comes to youth?
Yeah.
I reckon it's weird. It's a weird because we asked this before, like when we were sitting down on this thing and we were testing this out. I think it's a lot of things, bro. I think people simplify, the older generations simplify and be like, oh no, they're just not motivated, they don't have anything to do, they're not pushing themselves or whatever. But I think it's it's more than just that. I reckon it's the environment that people are in, it's their families, it's everything. Would you say you were a particularly lazy person when you were younger?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that was particularly lazy because I guess I was high driven per se.
But you were very you were just always doing stuff. You could never just sit down and just.
No, I'm I got definitely OCD traits.
Yeah.
But I've learned to acquire them in a very.
I use them. Way. Yeah, I use them in a regular. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to understand, you have to learn what works well for you, and that's the time for you to explore. I think laziness in youth really, really stems down from just really lack of purpose.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think, as I said before, I don't believe in motivation. I don't think motivation is obviously it's a real thing.
Yeah.
But it's not something that it's. You can relate it to being sad or being happy. It's motivation just comes and goes. So I don't think that shouldn't be in the discussion.
About motivation. I don't think motivation is a big thing.
It shouldn't be in the discussion.
Because I think motivation is just a dopamine hit at the end of the day. Just get dopamine hit, you feel good, let's do shit. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not long lasting.
But it's useless. It's literally it doesn't do anything. Yeah.
It's the discipline. Because discipline allows you to go through day in, day out, doing things that you don't want to feel like doing, yet you're still doing it.
And again, how can you build that discipline if you don't have the purpose? This is what I was asking before. If you don't know what you're going to do with your life, how can you build the discipline? I feel like it's impossible.
I think there's always this, Jordan Peterson always talks about that.
Yeah.
He said always try to re-explore and re-find what really triggered you as a child. Not in a negative way, but really interested you as a child, and try to reignite that as an adult. So for me, it was always learning, it was medicine, it was studying. Fair enough, done, boom. I still enjoy it. But I also enjoy the idea of growth and risks and, I guess, learning new skills that I go through. Who doesn't really? But I never really forgot my true passion at the end of the day. But I'm not too sure about current youth with all the bloody social media distractions.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It really comes down to lack of awareness about, hey, this is causing me a problem. For example, being on TikTok for 10 minutes or 20 minutes straight is not only reducing my attention span, but it really is burning away at my energy and my focus. And a lot of kids don't know that because that's just normal for them.
I think they do know it. I think like especially in teenagers, teenagers know that it's bad. Like teenagers aren't dumb they're not dumb. They're just like we know that it's bad for us. People know that it's bad for them. But it's just like they have this voice at the back of their head where it's like, oh no, it's fine. It'll be okay when I'm older.
But it's not because that's when it starts.
Well, exactly. That's what it is.
Discipline starts at a young age because the earlier, remember that your brain is developing, especially in your teenage years, your brain is developing rapidly. But at the same time, even though it's developing rapidly, you still have a lot of chances to ensure you have the right sort of networks running around in your brain. And part of it is discipline. So discipline is one of those things that you develop early in your life. And you have to go through a phase where like, okay, I know I don't want to do this. And I know 80% of the times I'd rather be in bed. But how would I feel after? Shit. I always feel shit when I stay in bed. Everyone feels shit. Everyone feels lazy. Right? So you getting out of bed and pushing yourself to do that, the outcome is always more favorable than not doing it.
No, of course, yeah.
It's always better than not doing the task in the first place. It's always going to be that way. Because your brain has the ability to acquire that, whatever skill that you're trying to, and produce in most cases, a positive outcome for you via the release of serotonin, dopamine. If you go gym, for example, that's a lot of endorphins. So it actually benefits you in the long run. In the short term, sometimes it doesn't really allow you to realize these small factors. But let's say you stick to it for 3-4 months, in which by then you have a routine, you will notice a difference. And when I say you will notice. If you compare, you sit there and you compare yourself to 3 months beforehand, or just reflect, you'll notice a massive difference just in the way you think and the way you do things throughout the day. That's what it comes down to. Discipline allows you to not only build resilience, which is very important in our daily sort of life, but also allows you to get shit done that you're not meant to be doing, or you just don't want to do. For example, work. A lot of us don't want to go to work.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right? But you need the money. Right? So how do you go through the day without being like, fuck this, I'm out? It's this discipline. How do you set discipline? You introduce a routine daily into your life, okay? Perhaps a lot of times after already, you tend to introduce a new routine. I think this is from, what was the book? It's called like The Power of Habit or something. I can't remember. It was like
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits. Oh, sorry. So it says you always want to introduce a new trade or a new skill that you want to right after the ones that you tend to enjoy doing all the time. So it doesn't feel like it's too much out of your way.
Yeah.
And then you slowly increase the the time frame of doing that day in, day out. But it does usually take around 30 days to set a routine in. So you have to force yourself for the first month to go through.
Is it easier for adults that have like fully developed brains, like adults? Is it easier for them to set habits than it is for teenagers?
Not necessarily. It depends how you've grown up. It depends on what sort of work you do, what sort of diet you have, what sort of exercise and sleep. That sets are very important, and it depends also on your lifestyle.
Even as a teenager?
As a teenager, you still have a lot of flexibility in your brain, so you can still develop that, right? But as an adult, like what really gets you through a lot of times is the fact that you've got duties, you've got responsibilities, you've got family. You got to get your ass up and do the work. No one's paying for the bills except you. You've got a family, you've got a wife to look after. You're forced to do these things. You become disciplined as a man. A lazy man is just a failed man. He's a failure.
Those are the people that you see like just kind of fuck up their families and that type of shit.
Yeah, they walk out. They don't know. They're not good fathers. They're not good husbands. They just aren't a good role model. And you can pick them in a fucking crowd. It's not hard.
Oh, it's easy to think about.
But I think if you had discipline from a young age, so for example, working from such a young age, just working on the weekend, that itself sets a discipline. And the reason why I say it sets a discipline is because it's allowing you to understand that you have a limited time on these certain days where you have to get your shit done. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I always go to that excuse of like, oh, I'm 16, 17 or whatever, you know, as most teenagers do.
Yeah.
Like, is that a viable, is that like a real excuse? Because I have the argument. I honestly do think, even though teenagers are just lazy, people are just lazy. I honestly think that teenagers are less focused than adults, just naturally. Like if you just put an adult.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So isn't it naturally harder for them to be disciplined?
Yeah, but that's when you should be more disciplined. Because if you learn to be more disciplined as a teenager,
yeah, then you'll be crazy as an adult. Yeah,
you're ahead. You're ahead of the game. Whatever it takes, gym, diet, exercise, sleep. Sleep is a big factor.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah.
Sleep is a huge factor.
Like I've never gotten good sleep, bro. Ever. Like probably ever since I was like 12. I was like, you know when you just always sleep deprived?
Yeah, I know. Like I used to be like that, I guess, to a certain extent. But then, because I used to study at night anyway, which was bad, but it worked for me.
How do you solve that? Like, how do you stop being? Like, obviously, learn how to sleep properly
You gotta change
and
your
sleep.
routine. Because once you change your routine, you force yourself into a particular sort of rhythm, and your body just has to adapt. But for you right now, you're like you're in HSC, so what is it there that you got to adapt? You just got to adapt to study more. That's it, really.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, it's like it always scares me, bro. Like the consequences of like not sleeping.
Well,
like Alzheimer's and all that shit.
Nah, that's like long-term stuff anyway. But Alzheimer's isn't cool.
You can't get Alzheimer's in your 40s.
That's early onset. Alzheimer's is usually it's usually inherited.
Oh, so we wouldn't get it.
We don't have it in the family. I think another one is the fact that lack of sleep just increases stress level.
And it's just a cycle.
Like cortisol, yeah. It just increases your cortisol long term. Which means you're bound to be less focused throughout the day, irritable, agitated.
And then you're just not doing shit.
Low mood.
I've noticed that at school, bro. Like, I'm just like, you know, you're not sleeping, you're just unable to do work.
So I think if we want to do a take-home message, we don't want to lag this. We're already on nearly 20 minutes.
No one knows.
Yeah, bro. Nearly 17 minutes. Yeah, time flies, bro. I'm telling you.
Alright.
Fucking crazy.
That was quick. Right.
I think what we need to focus on is how to get yourself into a healthy routine, because a routine builds discipline.
Yeah.
You may fail at the first instance, second instance, but you gotta push yourself through 1 month of routine where you just sit there, jot through things that you would like to be done throughout your daily habits, and just get through them day in, day out, and then within a month you will feel and realize you're a completely different person.
Hopefully.
I reckon it's worthwhile. Yeah.
No,
especially for you youth. You know, youth have this issue of discipline for a while. So I think cutting out snacks before bed is a big thing. Cutting out coffee for them. Cutting out even exposure to lights from phones is a big thing as well. Like before you go to sleep. Yeah, those are the big ones.
Vaping and all that shit.
Yeah, vaping.
That's pretty.
Vaping is, we don't even know the long-term consequences of that yet.
It's like obviously going to be bad. Like
we don't know. Like, I mean, it took us around 30, 40 years to realize what smoking causes lungs and throat cancers, esophageal cancer. Yeah, everything really. Apart from the fact that you get strokes and blood pressure increase, that's nothing that we could have predicted with smoking. But I don't think vaping is that far off from it. No, not at all.
Why is it like a better alternative?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen chronic coughs, reflux, productive, like yucky coughs come through.
Wasn't also...
And there's a lot of lung-related injuries.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't this also this guy you told me ages ago? This guy that came to emergency and he had like a hole in his lungs or something. He collapsed in the shower.
No, I can't remember what was it.
He collapsed in the shower and then he had like a hole in his lungs or something because he was vaping. Like, does that shit happen?
No, I've heard of people that are coming in. I think you're talking about the ones that are coming in with lung-related injuries, which is like pneumonia, like.
Oh, so like infections.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty fucking weird.
That's pretty weird. Yeah, that's pretty.
But.
Yeah.
I think they found out that some of them had cannabis in there. So the cannabis vapes tends to increase their risk. I don't know how, but it does happen. So it's a very, very interesting, I think probably a deadly outcome for most of us in the long term. And that's what it is. It's unfortunate it's available to the youth.
Yeah, it's like everyone has one now.
It's easily accessible. Yeah. But like, if I were to warn against it, I'd say we don't know the long-term impacts of it.
Yeah.
It could be anything from throat cancer, and trust me, you don't want to fucking get throat cancer. You'd be secreting so much pus out of your mouth that is disgusting from what weeks.
From your mouth?
From your mouth when they hit you with the chemo.
Pus? How? From where?
Because you're causing pretty much cellular injuries at all levels.
Like pus, like the shit that comes out of pimples and shit?
Yeah.
It comes out of your mouth?
Yeah. It's disgusting. I have seen it and I smelled it. I was about to vomit. Fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
The guy was in his 60s, obviously.
Bro, 60s is still young to...
But he was like chemo-induced afterwards. And after chemo, you go through this sort of phase where your entire cellular structure is damaged to a point that it's just trying to clear out all these injuries. And in the process, it just creates market discharge in your mouth. And it just continuously comes out of your mouth. For weeks and weeks, it comes out. And that's if you're lucky enough to survive it after the first round. I'm not saying survive it, sorry. That's if they're lucky to pull you into, remission. If you're not and you're relapsing, round 2, boy.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Right? And don't get me wrong, this is not the worst ones. You have esophageal cancers.
Which is like the hole? Isn't that the hole?
The esophageal cancers are pretty much the food pipe that goes into your stomach.
Yeah.
Now, if that gets cancer, they got to cut that shit away.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't they put a hole?
No, that's the trachea. So they do a tracheostomy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and tracheostomy is just they open up and put a breathing tube for you right here, brother.
Yeah.
Right here. And it will take weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks before they decide to take it out. Right? Yeah. Some people have permanent tracheas actually. Right? Some people have just unfortunate things, so unfortunate and they can't recover, they have to just keep it in there forever.
But is that from smoking or from smoking and other stuff?
Smoking is a big factor. Smoking is a big factor, at least the cancer. So throat cancer, laryngeal cancer, lung cancer, of course. And a lot of times the lung cancers are just caught late. By that time, it's either as a GP, if they come to me and I'll be like, all right, cool, what's going on? Oh, I've got a chronic cough. He's that age, he's like 50-something.
Yeah.
Smoking. He's vaping maybe. It's like I've got this chronic cough going on for 3-4 months. I'm losing weight. Not feeling well. I'm always short of breath.
So I don't get that 3-4 months, bro. And then they come into the hospital. Like, I would be in there after 2 weeks.
Because a lot of people is like, oh, I cough anyway, who gives a shit? But then they tend to come to you after like a month maybe or 2. Whatever. Some people just don't give a shit, right? Yeah. So they come to me and he's like, all right, what am I doing? So I think to myself, like, what should I do? Obviously, do all the baselines, bloods, but then you end up doing a chest X-ray for a baseline at least, right? Sometimes you don't catch anything. Sometimes you need to do a CT scan. And you find a nodule there, right? You find an active nodule there. If not multiple ones, right? And if it's multiple, it's most likely already spread. It's metastasized all the way through.
Dead, yeah.
Well, that time, they hit you with chemo, if you're lucky. Depends, really.
Yeah.
And radiation. If they want to just zap a few areas just to make sure you have, maybe they'll reduce it in size, shrink it, they'll zap it there and there, they'll zap maybe your bones for pain management. A long time. It's a shitty way to go out.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the physical symptomology, yeah, it's fair enough. It's there. But imagine up there, man. How can you, you've got an active cancer in yourself. It's the stress, the anxiety that comes along with it that you should be thinking ahead 10, 15, 20 years, hey, these are things that have been proven to be carcinogenic, right? We should avoid it. I should avoid it. Like even alcohol, man. Daily use of alcohol. Not daily. Okay, even weekend. I think at your age is fine, right? Not saying to drink underage, but 18, 19, 20, fair enough.
Yeah.
But dude, right now, like at 28, 29, when I'm drinking, it hits me the next day. It's different.
Yeah, it's different.
Because your body isn't capable of metabolizing and clearing the alcohol at the same rate as you were at your age. Mm. And it just builds up. Your body's only getting older, right? So therefore, its ability to clear out a lot of these toxins slows down. So the idea is we always say, stick to a healthy diet, exercise, sleep well, because we've done these 3 things for the last millions of years. It doesn't change just because we've got medicine now and all these things.
Yeah.
It means we should be more
inclined to
more in tune with our evolutionary history. Like that's it.
What about shisha? This is the last talking point. Very important. Is it worse than cigarettes and vapes and shit?
Depends how often you do it. Depends on its exposure. Like if you do it daily, yeah, definitely. You're gone. But if you're doing it like once a week, once a fortnight, I'm not saying to do it, but I know people, it's a social thing. I'm not telling us to stop it completely, but I'm telling for a fact that the elements in there, and the charcoal and the mixed molasses, we don't know the long-term implications of it because there hasn't been enough research on it. There has been some research on, I think there's one paper that I read in like college students from Saudi Arabia, which has shown over long-term smoking of shisha does reduce lung capacity in terms of oxygenation, sort of.
Yeah, I'm sure,
I guess exchange of like the alveoli to the capillaries, which is expected because you are damaging it. Again, long-term, I think it's probably worse than smoking, and definitely increases your chances of developing lung cancer.
So, I guess after a specific age, you just have to start.
I think like all of them do have it, and I know there's a lot of people out there. Like right now, more like happy Ramadan to our folks out there, the Muslim community. I know for a fact once they break the fast, the first thing they go to is their shisha. But like try to cut it down. What you can do at least is if you do it daily, do it every second day, because the long-term implications of it is it does increase your chances of sleep apnea, exhaustion. Like you're not inhaling enough oxygen. All you're doing is just CO2, and plus the toxins that you're taking on top. So it will trigger, definitely trigger a long-term inflammatory response in your body. That's at least what happens. And if you're smoking on a daily basis, then when you fall ill, you're more likely. I'm saying you're just more likely to probably cop it worse than others, especially if it's lung-related injury, like diseases.
Also goes back to like the immune system.
There you go. Because you're pumping the immune system with, hey, I want to do this. The immune system is like, enough, fuck off, stop. Like, I can't deal with this. I generally cannot deal with this to a point that you just damp it down. Your immune system is no longer as responsive as it used to be because you're not allowing it to pick up these healthy messages around your body. So it's like beating down a child. Eventually they'll stop crying. So that's pretty much immunity.
It's pretty sinister.
Yeah, but that's how we treat our bodies, unfortunately. Yeah. So we've got to be very careful. But yeah.
Don't smoke, guys. Don't smoke.
But yeah. Next week, I think we're planning on something different completely. Please shoot us messages. We're happy to be of help. This is literally, at the end of the day, it's a community project. I really hope people learn a lot of different, I guess, facts and learn about themselves as we go through these podcasts. So yeah.
Nah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be definitely
fun. I know. All right. Peace out, guys.
Take care, guys.